guys? It's Taco here with Amped Up Outdoors. Got another little tacos tip for you. I was sitting there thinking of stuff I can cover that I haven't covered. And one thing I want to cover is the end game of fishing. There's a couple of things you're going to need. Once you finally get out there, put some tips to use and catch some fish. One handy tool is a lip gripper of some form. I have a hold in your hand, kind of pull the trigger, and then I have the vice grip style. These come in real handy once you get a fish in your kayak or you're on the shoreline. You know, you can grab them by the lip. You can hold them. It's got a strap so you can put it around your wrist. And deal with what you have to deal with. Like I said, this will come in handy if you got that fish and you need to try to get the hook out of his mouth. You can hold him with one or the other of these. A handy tip is get yourself a pool noodle or a float of some form and attach it to the handle. That'll make it nice, especially if you're in a kayak or on a boat. You know, stuff happens. One of these goes over. If you have a float, it's going to float it so you can go retrieve these grips. That way you're not losing a bunch of money with your fish grips. The next thing in the end game, and this is going to come into play before the fish grips, is a landing net of some form. Now, there are tons and tons of landing nets out there. You can go with something basic. Right here, this is a Cummins landing net. It's about an 18-inch hoop. This is a decent size. I use this on the kayak. I've put rockfish in here. I've put nice snakehead in here. I've put bass. I've used it for bigger crappie and stuff and catfish. The one downfall to this style net is the netting itself. If I bring a fish in and he's got the lure in his mouth, that lure really wants to tangle up in that netting and the barb will kind of bite in, and then you got to try to not only deal with the thrashing fish, but you also have a lure tangled in your landing net. So this is what I was using. Again, if you're on the kayak or on the boat, you can get a piece of pool noodle attached to this handle. That way, if you have that whoops moment and it goes overboard, you can retrieve your net. To combat the tangle part, I bought a rubberized net. And it's the same size hoop, or roughly the same size hoop, roughly the same size handle. The main difference is the netting. The netting itself is rubberized. So if that lure goes in there, just like before, it doesn't want to tangle as bad. The barb's not going to, or the point of the hook's not going to bite into the netting. And again, put a pool noodle on here. If you want to trick us out, put a tacos tip sticker on there. You can do that as well. But that's my new go-to net. Then you have your specialty nets. There's tons and tons and tons of specialty nets. You have folding nets. If you're in a canoe or a kayak, personally, I'm not a big fan of the folding net, but that's my opinion. You have little trout nets. If you have a trout net that'll hang on your hip, you know, if you're fishing in a stream for trout, it's got a smaller hoop. That's fine for the purpose it was designed for. A trout net isn't going to help you much on a kayak with a 20-inch rockfish or a 22-inch snakehead. You know, you could probably do okay with a large panfish, but with most of the fish you're going to be after, your pickerel, your snakehead, your rockfish, it's not going to work out well with that small trout net. Another specialty net right here is I have the net that I use for carp fishing. You know, it's a big, wide net. It's got a real deep bag. It's got a real long handle. That net is designed for carp fishing. It's good for scooping up them big carp. It probably work fine for scooping up a bigger blue cat. It's not really designed to do a whole bunch of heavy lifting with that one. If you net the fish, you pull it back to yourself and then pick straight up off the bag. So you have to pay a little bit of attention to your netting technique. There's also bridge nets. A bridge net is 2 large round hoops, has a main line that you can lower down if you're fishing off of a fishing pier or you're on a bridge. So there's tons and tons and tons of options out there. Just like a fishing rod, just like your fishing tackle, your net is going to help dictate your experience. If I went carp fishing, I'm not going to take this net. Now, if I was out on the boat fishing or on the kayak fishing and I caught a carp, I'm going to try to net it with this net because that's what I have with me. But I'm going to have to struggle with it. Whereas with my carp net, I just bring him over and get him in the net and it's done. So think about what you're doing. Try to find something that works for you, just like a rod, just like a reel. If it's not comfortable for you, being the handle being too long, you know, the hoop too small, it's not going to work out as well for you. I mean, on the end game thing, I even have a gaff right here. Now, this is something that I use. I'll take this with me when I go fishing down in Ocean City, you know, somewhere where I may catch a fish that I need a gaff. Taking a gaff with me to Centennial Lake in Columbia is a moot point. Yeah, I mean, I could gaff fish. You have to check the legality of it, but it's not necessary. So when you go out to purchase stuff like this, just take your time, make sure you feel comfortable with it, you know, and do yourself the favor, you know, kind of think about and read the reviews on what you're looking to purchase. You know, yeah, it's nice to go out and buy a net for $12. But for $20, I bought the rubberized one. So in essence, instead of being out $20, I'm now out $32 because I bought the regular one, got tired of the lures getting tangled with it, then I went and bought the proper one. Hope this, guys, helps you out in choosing your landing nets, and I'll catch you on the next video.